Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. Welcome to my show. Well, COVID-19 has caused the whole world to pivot. A man who knows a little something about pivoting joins me right now from New York, Evan Dash. He is the CEO of Storebound. Evan, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Well, I'm really impressed with your story because you started your company in 2010, and if I remember right, that was a pretty gloomy time.
Yeah, we had just come out of the financial crisis, 2007, 2008. I mean, everything was really, really tough. And we started concepting our business then, feeling like that was the right time to think about starting something. And as soon as we got that glimmer of hope and saw the consumer basically getting back to spending and confidence rising, we pulled the trigger to jump in and start a company.
So you had a nice gig. I mean, you were senior vice president at Macys, not a bad job. It must have been scary and exhilarating to quit the comfort of Macys to go out on your own.
Yeah, it was one of the most rewarding things I've done. Thinking about it at the time, I went from feeling like I was in the center of the business world to being scared of everything. I mean, I had some confidence that what we were doing was right, but I had so many people who were telling me that I was crazy. A lot of people who I really respected were telling me that I was going to lose everything that I invested and that I shouldn't leave the comfort of a big corporate job and a great steady paycheck.
But from your vantage point, really over the buying process at Macys, you saw a niche for yourself. Describe that.
Yeah, so sometimes everything's about perspective and your vantage point. And I had a really unique vantage point where I was working in the buying team of a giant department store, and I got to meet with every supplier of our product categories in the home space. And having gotten to really know the suppliers, gotten to know the product areas, and certainly got to understand the consumer's buying patterns, I felt like there was an area of the business where some white space really existed. And it's so difficult to find those little pockets of white space. And at the time, it was healthy food prep appliances that would be innovative, high design, fun design, fresh design that would appeal to a younger consumer who didn't necessarily want the things that were on their parents' countertop. And we combine that with our knowledge of social media to essentially launch a brand nobody had heard of. And today we're slugging it out with the big heritage brands that have been around since about the time of electricity.
Congratulations. I was on your website. We pulled some pictures. You have some really cool products. How do you go about choosing your products?
So we have a pretty exhaustive process. And what we do is we look for white space in the market. We look at a lot of consumer trends. We look at food trends. We work with some celebrity chefs. And we have a great progressive product development team. And we basically can start with a white piece of paper and a concept and think about what are the things that we want to help people make at home in the kitchen and empower them to do it in a really easy way. So a perfect example, I saw my egg cooker go by. I still run into so many people who say, what's an egg cooker? Why would I need an egg cooker? And we think about the product not necessarily as an egg cooker, but healthy breakfast fast, something that empowers them to just set it, hop in the shower, get the kids ready, and have a really healthy breakfast when they're done and ready to sit down and actually eat.
Yes, and I know during the pandemic, everybody's on lockdown. Everybody's really starting to cook at home. My wife and I went from eating out pretty much every meal to now cooking every meal. Has that created a spike in traffic on your site?
Yeah, we've had a big spike in traffic on our site. Very little, very small portion of our business is on our own e-commerce site, and we've really built our business to serve big national retailers. So we're seeing big spikes on Amazon.com or CrateandBarrel.com, BedBath.com. But then we're also in stores that are open, selling essential products like Target. So to be in around 1,600 Targets across the country, we've seen that spike tremendously as well. And the business that we're doing on their website is growing like crazy. People are cooking at home more than they ever have been, and we consider ourselves fortunate to be in a product category where the consumer is still purchasing product and has needs.
You also have a fun company, because I saw online a nice little video of you guys doing some product sampling on the streets of New York. Let's go ahead and roll that tape now.
Hi, I'm Kat Reinhardt, and we're here on the streets of Lower Manhattan, here to see how the Dash Rapid Cold Brew System stacks up against Starbucks.
Very smooth. Very, very, very smooth.
It's very good. Smooth.
And it's very, oh my God, like I want to take my last sip.
I taste like a little berry in it for some reason. I don't know why.
I like where you can actually like taste the coffee.
This one actually tastes a little more watery. I don't know. Yeah, actually, I think I like the first one more. For this taste challenge, yes, I think I would prefer the Dash.
So which one do you prefer?
I like the Starbucks, but it's kind of bitter.
Yeah, Dash is better.
Who would you say is the clear winner?
Dash, certainly Dash.
What if I told you that Starbucks takes 24 hours to make and Dash can be ready in as little as 5 minutes?
I believe it. They might take a little too long. They might want to pull back some time on that.
Evan, you do have a fun company. I know we're both members of C-Suite and Hero Club. Talk about company culture and why that's so important to you.
That is the most incredibly important thing to my wife and I. So Rachel and I started the company, and you've gotten to meet her at some of the Hero Club events. She was a buyer at Bed Bath & Beyond. We both worked in big companies that were fairly impersonal, and you couldn't do a lot for your employees there. And we decided that we wanted to create a culture where everybody mattered, everybody was great, and we hired a group of people who had also taken their beatings at big companies the way that we had, and we created something that everybody could really appreciate, really fun energy. Everybody gets to contribute. We're going on this incredible ride, but everybody who's with us feels as though they're helping to steer this vehicle that we're on.
And you're really taking over the world when it comes to social media. I know that's a large part of your company. Talk about that.
Yeah, so at the beginning, it was really a matter of need versus we had this vision of social media. We started the company with basically our own savings, and we didn't have big media budgets to spend, so we had social media available to us. And what we decided was incredibly important is that we post content that would resonate with the consumer. And at the time, we were big on Instagram. You couldn't even pay to have your product up-leveled or to advertise on it. So all of the organic following that we got from the beginning went up to 250,000, then to over 1 million. Those were all people who saw what we were doing and actually clicked the follow button and said, I want to see what you have to say in my newsfeed every day.
Wow. And you're a leader in the industry. You've been on the board of the International Housewares Association for a number of years now. Talk about the industry. Why have you served so long on the board?
I mean, I have such a love for the industry. Going back to my department store days, I worked in just about every product category in fashion and accessories, and then eventually moved into the home business and was put in charge of the housewares business at a time when I don't think I'd ever turned on a stove before. Food Network was becoming really popular. Chefs were becoming celebrities. And I started to cook. I started to test products. And I absolutely fell in love with the housewares and home business. And I'm a champion of the industry. And I feel like the more the industry can succeed, the more that I'm going to succeed. So I try to give back wherever I can within the industry.
Evan, unfortunately, we're out of time for this segment. You've been a great guest. We're going to put your website up. It's buy-.com is the website. Evan Dash, CEO of Storebound. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks again, Jeff.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.